cook with me because I'm Stella V. I am going to show you today how to make chicken cacciatore in 20 minutes. And we'll be using one of my favorite tools, the Instant Pot. So first we're going to simply make sure we have all of our vegetables that we're going to need in place. And it's going to start with some chopped onions. And I have some beautiful bell peppers. I've got red and orange, but whatever bell peppers you have. So we have our Instant Pot, and I simply put in a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. And the beauty about the Instant Pot is we can do all our browning right in the same pot. So I'm going to hit the saute button and wait till that gets warm. In the meantime, I'm going to prepare my garlic, and this is my favorite way of doing garlic for this approach. Mashing it with my meat tenderizer, the peel comes right off, and you can easily just give it a fine little dice. See, we have all of our aromatics and our vegetables prepped. The oil is all heated, and the first thing we're going to do is brown our chicken. What I've prepared is the chicken thigh. It is a fabulous cut of meat for this recipe. I bought them with the skin on and the bone in. I have taken the skin off of them, but that's just a personal preference. You can certainly cook them with the skin on. I find if you buy the skin on, bone in, you get the best value for your money. So now you can see that that is bubbling, and you can tell by the sizzle, the sound of it. And you just leave it until it's brown, and then it will easily turn over. When the meat is ready, you can tell because it very easily just turns over and flips over. And you see that color? That's the browning color that we want on that. Chicken cacciatore. Cacciatore simply means hunter. So it basically was a hunter's stew, and the flavors are very rustic but very satisfying. The main flavors and the main components of chicken cacciatore, along with tomato, the two main flavor profiles in chicken cacciatore are olives and capers. Black olive or green olive will certainly work for you. That's what adds the richness and the saltiness to the flavor of the dish. If you're using capers that are in liquid, make sure you drain them nicely and that they're quite dry. Now browned completely, it's a beautiful golden color, and I've taken it out, and the next step is really important. With a spoon, make sure you take all of those brown bits right out, otherwise it will cause a burn notice, and you don't want that. Now I've added a little bit more oil because the next step is to saute our onions. And we're trying to get all those brown bits right off the bottom, cause a burn notice. We're adding our onions. And again, you can hear that sizzle. We're going to cook the onions for about 5 minutes until they become translucent. Okay, the onions have been sauteing for about 5 minutes, and now I'm going to add that lovely red bell pepper. Give it a little stir and let it continue to saute. We're building up the flavor layer by layer, and all of that sauteing is making sure that the flavors are melding together. And now it's time to add that garlic. We always add the garlic after the onions and bell pepper because garlic burns very easily and very quickly, and by putting it on top of the other vegetables, we're going to keep it from burning. Now that the vegetables are beautifully cooking, it's time to deglaze the bottom of that pot. And this way we'll make sure all those brown bits are not going to cause any problems. I've got about half a cup of white wine, and that is what we're going to use to deglaze the pot and add a lot of flavor. And now you can see how easily anything that has been sticking to the bottom of the pot, because of that beautiful wine, is easily being lifted off. And now it's time to add all of our flavor bombs and aromatics. What we're adding is about 2 teaspoons of oregano. I have about 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. I'm putting in those capers and the olives and a couple of bay leaves. And here is a really good flavor tip. These are 2 ingredients that you probably wouldn't associate with putting in a chicken cacciatore, but I urge you, they're optional, but I urge you to use them because they are flavor bombs. I've got a teaspoon of soy sauce and a half a teaspoon of fish sauce. Yes, you heard me right, fish sauce. You're not going to taste the fish sauce, you're not going to taste the soy sauce, but you are going to have a depth of flavor, and it's an umami bomb. I wish you could smell this now. It is absolutely smelling delicious because all of our flavor bombs are in there. I'm adding now about a cup of chicken stock. Doesn't that look absolutely wonderful? And now it's time to put those chicken thighs back in, and we're going to just nestle them into the liquid on top of all those vegetables. I have 5 chicken thighs here. That's just what I happen to have. But this recipe is good for 6, 4, or 8 pieces. I have about 2 cups of tomato puree, and just a little tip, this is certainly not a whole can, and unless you're going to use your tomato puree within a day or 2, I have a great value-saving tip. Just simply put it into little baggies, a Ziploc bag, and put it in the freezer. It'll stay there for at least 6 months. I'm adding a little tomato paste to my tomato puree for some extra flavor. Time to add that tomato, and we're putting it on top of the chicken thighs because it's important to add tomato on top so that you won't get that burn notice. Tomato is very acidic and it could cause a burn notice. We're finished with that saute function, so now we turn that off. I'm putting the lid on, and in order to get it up to pressure, we need to turn it to sealing. Make sure it's on the ceiling. Whichever model you have, it might be slightly different, but in this case, I'm turning it to the back. And it's time to pressure cook on high. For 10 minutes. And if you like what you see, make sure you hit subscribe. It takes a few minutes for the Instant Pot to get up to pressure, but once it does, you can see that the 10-minute mark is showing, and that's going to start counting down now. As you can see, we're now down to 5 minutes, and now as you can see and hear, it has used up all the 10 minutes. It's counted right down to 0, and now it's going to start counting up, but you can see that it's got an L, and that means it's on low pressure. And what we're doing now is we're going to let it naturally release for another 5 minutes. So that counter is going to go up to 5, and then we'll take out any of the pressure that's still in the pot. As you can see, we've reached 5 minutes, and that's called 5 minutes of natural release. What we're going to do now, I just spin the pot around so it's not blowing up the steam into my cupboards. And whatever leftover pressure is now just coming out. Now you can see that there is no pressure left in the pot, and there's a little pin that's dropped down, and that tells you that it's completely safe to open the lid. Remember to take that bay leaf out. Here we are, ready to plate. It smells delicious, it looks amazing, and instead of a 2-hour chicken cacciatore to develop all that flavor, we've done it in 20 minutes. And as you can see, there is a lot of rich, beautiful sauce. You can serve that with your favorite pasta, with mashed potatoes, or even a polenta. If you like what you see, click that subscribe button and come cook with me. I'm Stella V.